Hola, bueno, hello. This is Aaron from ANET Computers with anetcomputers.com. Today again with another short YouTube video. This one deals with endpoint software, but more specifically, succinctly, Symantec. So that Symantec's endpoint software. And then how Symantec endpoint software, how to install endpoint JDB patches. Having problems installing Symantec endpoint patches? Symantec endpoint definition patches come in a form of files with a .jdb extension. When using Symantec's live update feature, which won't install those endpoint updates successfully, then you can try to install them manually. Sometimes Symantec's update tool called live update, it just doesn't work. You keep clicking on that live update, or even there's a button that you can click that will go out to their servers and look for updates. It just won't work. So there could be a workaround for this specific software. You can view some instructions at Symantec's website that will quickly show you how to manually install those JDB definition patches. And then I will leave a link to my website, anetcomputers.com, with this information and the web link so that you can get there quickly. And then I'm going to go over that. I'm not going to read this entire website URL because some of it gets into, details, but I'm going to cover most of the instructions on this site that can help you manually install those JDB updates. How to update definitions for Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager, SEPM, using a JDB file. You have that software, you install Symantec Endpoint Protection, you want to protect your computer, and then you have it set to manual, like in this image, this photograph, this screen capture, the Symantec scheduler. You can set it to update on a schedule. Sometimes it just does not work. Maybe their servers are down. It's just some snafu. Also, you notice how you can customize the update section, and then they have a button where you can update everything now. Most Symantec products that I've ever troubleshooted with their live update tool, they almost always have a button that you can click on it and update everything now. You could try that. That's one possible tip to fix your problem, but most likely if the scheduler doesn't work, the automatic scheduler, then if you do try to update it, it might not work, and then that's where you have to try to manually update those files. And then it just asks you, and then when should you use this procedure? What steps? The cause. When the SEPM, Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager, is behind a closed firewall proxy or has no direct access to the internet or an internet live update administrator to blah 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 server, it cannot retrieve content from Symantec's live update servers. That's what I've noticed. It just, for whatever reason, it tries to go out to their servers and it's just not pulling down any of the updates. And then their solution is a JDB file can be used to update the virus definitions for SEPM, Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager. The updated SEPM will then begin to supply the updated definitions to the managed Symantec Endpoint Protection clients that are configured to receive content from that SEPM. The .jdb file for virus and spyware protection does not provide updated content for the firewall, IPS, etc. I'm not going to continue on. So they're basically stipulating it could be a firewall problem or a problem with internet connection or a problem connecting to their servers, etc. I'm not going to go over about rapid release virus definitions. It goes into greater detail about the time, the definitions. Basically what it is if you have it set to Symantec scheduler, it says right on this graphic, set a regular time for your computer to connect to Symantec and update your software. And you can customize it. You could change what time. Let's say, here's another possible potential tip that I just thought. I think it's your choice, it's your free choice, whatever you want to do with your computer. I'm not here to go around telling people what to do, or I just try to give out tips that I've learned as a computer technician that might be useful. You might want to set your Symantec scheduler for early in the morning, 3 in the morning, 2 a.m., or really whenever you're not using your computer. Maybe you do work at 3 in the morning, you have your own business, whatever, for whatever reason. That's not my point, but you know what I'm saying. I would recommend, or to me personally, it's productive to try to set schedules for whenever you're not using your computer, because software like Symantec and antivirus and even Windows updates, Microsoft Windows updates for Vista 7 and 8, if they run in the background, they chew up CPU time, they're stealing a little bit of network bandwidth, and they can affect your computer. Same thing with Symantec Endpoint, or any really of Symantec's products where they have automatic updates that run in the background. They can affect your computer. So you might want to schedule it for sometime when you know that you normally don't use your computer. But it is customizable. You can change it. And also you can do it manually. Update everything now. So back to this. So basically, their virus definitions get released at certain times throughout the day, and then your scheduler is set, and then so let's say it's tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. It's supposed to go out to Symantec's website, their servers, their virus definition servers. It looks on that website for new virus updates and is supposed to download and install them for you automatically in the background. And then when you do start using your computer, you shouldn't notice a thing. You shouldn't have run into any problems. But obviously computers don't always work perfectly. And so I'm going to skip most of this. I will leave a link to my website, anetcomputers.com, where you can quickly access this web link so that on your free time or whenever, you can take your time reading over this, and then it's got some useful information about virus definitions and etc. But I want to get to the tutorial. I want to show you how to download those JDB files and manually install them yourself in case you have to. If you are unsure as to which definitions set you should use, please contact Symantec support for guidance. This just is how to download the JDB files. To download JDB certified definitions. So there's different types, so you need to know which type. Number 1, in a browser, go to Symantec Endpoint, Protection, Symantec Antivirus Corporate Edition, webpage at the following URL. I just want to show you that it works. And we'll go back. I probably shouldn't have went back, but that's all right. I should have just opened it up in a new window. But anyways, number 2, on the Symantec Endpoint Protection tab, download the available JDB file and save the file to the Windows desktop. There are multiple headings. Be aware that there are only one .jdb file in the list that will need to be downloaded. This is sufficient to update both 32 and 64-bit definitions. So it sounds like there's only one file you have to download. It will detect what version you're using, whether it's 32-bit or 64-bit. All you have to do is go to this link and then look for, like right here, under file name, it's today's date, August 18th, 2014. So if you have to, you download it. I think you can just click on it, and then you can save file. So save it to your computer on your desktop or wherever it's easiest for you to go look for it. And then all you have to do, it's an executable. It's a .exe. You just double click it. It'll run. It'll do its job. It'll install virus definitions. And it will also detect whether or not you're using... Oh, wait a minute. I stand corrected. There are 2 different file types. Okay, that's important to know. The 32-bit looks like it's here up at top. It even has the 32. The 64-bit is down below. You can see the 64.exe. Same thing. Save it to your desktop, run it, and then install it. There's a third option too. There's actually the JDB file itself, and we will go over that. Now, I don't see why not these other options would work. This should work. If you have 32-bit Symantec endpoint protection, download it, run it. It should update your virus definitions automatically. Same thing with 64-bit. But there could, maybe there's a problem with your software. Maybe it's corrupt. And that's why even Symantec's automated, scheduled installation of virus updates just isn't working. That's where you can download the .jdb and manually place it where it goes. So I would try these other options first because it's easy for you. If they don't work, try downloading the .jdb. Save it to your computer. Then we will get into where to put those files. And right here, actually, to use the .jdb file to update definitions for Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager, number one, after downloading, you may need to rename the file extension from .zip to .jdb. If it does save it to your computer as a .zip, just rename it to a .jdb. Most browsers detect the file type and automatically change the extension. You must change it back to .jdb for use by the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager. Number two, copy the .jdb file that you just downloaded to C:program file Symantec /Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager /data /inbox /content /incoming for 32-bit operating systems, and to C program files x86 /Symantec /Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager /data /inbox /content /incoming for 64-bit operating systems. And you want to go to that direct path. That's an exact path that you want to use File Manager. And then just copy and paste those .jdb file that you just downloaded. And then obviously for the 32-bit is the top right here, and 64-bit is for this location. The location listed in this line is the default installation location and is presented as an example only. Note, be sure to copy and paste the .jdb file to this location. Copying the .jdb file allows the file to inherit the correct permissions from the enclosing folder. If you cut and paste or move the .jdb file into this location, the file may, I need to learn how to speak for these videos. The file may fail to process correctly. That's very important. So don't cut and move. Just copy and paste it. And then also, that might be a good idea anyways, just in case if you start moving files around, then you might forget where they are, and then maybe there's a problem of corruption with that file. Whereas if you leave it alone and then just copy a version of it and then move it, then when you have successfully moved it to its correct location and then Symantec processes that file, well, then you've covered your behind, so to speak. So just in case you need that file again. But it's up to you. It's your free choice. But in these instructions, you do not want to cut that file and then move it. You want to just copy it and then paste it to one of the folders. That way you have another copy of it, and then they even tell you that it won't process correctly if you cut and then move it. Number three, usually the .jdb file processes within 1 minute. As the .jdb file is processed, all files and subfolders are removed from the incoming folder. So it looks like once it finishes processing that file that you just copy and pasted to its correct folder, that once it's completed, they disappear. Verify that the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager is updated. To verify that the SEPM content has been updated, look in the following folders: for SEP12.1.x version 12, 32-bit definitions are in this exact folder. Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager, inet, pub content, as you can see, and all kinds of other characters here. 64-bit definitions, as you can see, it's got an exact file location. And then this is for version SEP11.x. Same thing, location for 32-bit definitions, location for 64-bit definitions. And then there could be I don't know off the top of my head what versions of Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager are. I'm assuming there's newer ones than that. But I think it's possible that if you have a newer version, 14, 15, 20, whatever, that these instructions might be useful for you if there are newer SEPM besides version 12. But these instructions are still on their website, so typically there will be 3 or more numbered folders present. The folder naming convention is quote YY for year, MM for month, DD for day, unquote. For example, 10.06.02.034. This is the date and build revision number of the definition set installed. Please note that the definition set installed may have been published the previous day and a set for the current day may not yet be available. There should be a folder named full and a zip file named full.zip inside the folder that matches the set downloaded and installed. Inside the full folder are the files typically associated with a virus definition set. And here are some more important notes. We're almost done, I promise. The Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager updater file has a .jdb extension. There should be only one .jdb listed at any time and will update content for both 32 and 64-bit systems. So you only want to copy and paste one file at a time. These .jdb files can also be used to update SEP clients. For details of the client procedure, please see, I'm not going to go over that, but I'll show you this link. It could be a server. It's most likely that you might be using this as a server, and then you have client computers that update Symantec through your server, and that's possible. Instead of going out to Symantec servers over the internet, you might have a local area network, your office network or your home office network or whatever, and then each computer connects to this computer, but your computer that acts as a server, well, it's not getting updates properly. Then guess what happens? That causes your other client computers that use this computer to update their Symantec endpoint protection definitions, they're not getting updated. Muy mal, no bueno. You don't want to get viruses, do you? I'm not going to go over that. I just want to show you that this page exists, and then during your speed that you can go through this document if this computer that you're having a problem with acts as a server. So I'm done with that. Well, it's got for details on how to manage the number of definitions maintained by the SEPM. I'm not going to go into that, but there's a link for that if you want to check that out. Additional clarification. The intelligent updater, which I guess sometimes doesn't use logic or it's not that smart and it fails. Anyways, .exe files are designed to update client installs for SEP only. Symantec Endpoint Protection, not the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager. These intelligent updater files do not contain the required content needed by SEPM. That's a very important point, so I'm glad that they clarified that. The intelligent updater IU file names for SEP clients end with v5i.32.exe or v5i64.exe. 32 and 64 bits respectively. The intelligent updater file names listed on the Symantec Antivirus Corporate Edition tab should only be used with those specifically listed products. Let's go back up here and go through that clarification because I think that's very important. So So I guess forget what I said. Well, don't forget it, but okay. If you have client computers that get their updates and they have Symantec Endpoint Protection, but they do not have the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager, which is more of a server utility, you would use these executables, either 32-bit or 64. Now, if you have Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager that acts more like a server and it allows other clients to update themselves, you would use the .jdb file. You would not want to use the executables on the server. And then on the clients, I would say that you could try it if you had to use those executables. But on the client, the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager, which to me is a server, you would manually update the .jdb file if you know that your virus definitions are not being updated. So I hope I articulated that well enough so that my tips, that this process will help you fix that issue of Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager not becoming updated correctly. Anyways, you can always browse to anetcomputers.com for other possible potential tips to help you fix your most common computer problems. Thank you for listening.